Welcome to Financial Freedom. I'm Yvonne Davis, and this is my channel where I will be talking about all things related to financial freedom. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about myself so you know who I am, and then talk about what I'm going to do on this channel. So, again, my name is Yvonne Davis. I am an author, entrepreneur, and YouTuber, and I left my last full-time permanent job in early 2009. It happened after the financial meltdown and stock market crash and recession that kicked off in October 2008. I was working for CBS full-time, and I was actually very unhappy there. It's just maybe something to do with my personality, I don't know, but I've actually heard that there are statistics that say that 80% of people would quit their jobs immediately if they won the lottery. So I don't think it was just me, but I really, really wasn't happy. And that's nothing to say about CBS, okay? They're a fine company. I have nothing against them. It was just the work that I was doing. It didn't suit my personality because, one, I needed to be more creative than I was able to be in that job. And also I needed more flexibility and freedom because I'm just one of those kind of people that, I can't sit at a desk 40 hours a week. It just kills me. And so I had to find a way to break out of that. So I had been attempting to build a business ever since April of 2005. And so when early 2009 came around and I left that job, I was ready to go all in with my own business. And so I have been supporting myself as an entrepreneur for 11 years now. So I think that's something to speak for. But the other thing I want to say is that I actually have a background in economics. I graduated cum laude with honors in economics from the University of Denver. And I ended up going first into law and then later ended up working for CBS. But it just wasn't satisfying work for me. But I do have a background in both economics and my own experience as an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. So I think that, with that background, there's a lot that I can say that with information that could be really, really useful to people like yourself. And one of the, I would say, it's like a myth that you can only be financially free if you're a multimillionaire. It's like somehow this myth has been created. And I think that that's actually extremely destructive. And it's also not true. You don't have to be a multimillionaire to be financially free. And there are a lot of different ways that you can be financially free. So the key really is about finding out what you really need and want, because a lot of us are trained actually to be so-called consumers. And that's what prompted me to create this channel along with some other things, because this is 2020. And unless you're living in a cave, you know what's happening here in the United States, around the world in 2020. And especially in the United States where I live, I know that a lot of people have lost their jobs and they need options. They need opportunities. They need ideas. They need knowledge in order to be able to find solutions to the challenge of supporting themselves. Now, they might be getting unemployment for a time, but that doesn't last forever. There is no one who can ever be on employment forever. It does eventually end, and then you have to do something else. And so this might be the opportunity for you to become self-employed. because you've got the time and you can begin building your own business now. So I want to speak to people who are thinking in that direction, but also, even if you are employed right now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're happy in your job. Like I said, I worked for CBS. It was a good job, but I wasn't happy. And I wanted to get out of that job, and I wanted more freedom. And I think that being an entrepreneur is a way to move toward financial freedom, because then you get to choose what you want to do with your life. And you get to decide when you work, who you work with, what kind of work you do. You get to be your own boss. You get to set your own rates and, decide when you show up to work and when you don't. Now, of course, the more you work your business, the more you'll grow, and that does equate to income. But the other side of it that I want to talk about is this idea that there are two really, really incredibly damaging ideas that we have had implanted into our minds. So one is that you have to be a multimillionaire to be financially free, and that's not true. And the other is this idea that we are consumers. So think about what a consumer is. It's something that just consumes and consumes and consumes and consumes, which is basically the definition of a parasite or a cancer. And I am really, to be completely honest, I am outraged that we have had this idea planted into our minds that we're parasites, that that's all we're good for. And it's just simply not true. We are human beings. And human beings don't just need to consume and then produce waste. And that's basically what we're being taught, that that's all we're good for, is just to consume and produce waste. And we get into this trap because we're unhappy in our jobs, and we think that, well, there's nothing else to do but go and spend money on the weekends or in the evenings, and that's all there is just to keep consuming stuff. And so we lose sight of what it really means to be a human being, which is to be a creator, to be, I would even say, a spiritual being. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And we want meaning. That's what we really need. We need meaning. We need to be able to create. We need to be able to express our unique individual gifts. We need to be able to self-actualize. And being taught from, the time that as soon as we come out of the womb, that all we're good for is consuming, then we get on this treadmill of getting into debt and trying to pay off that debt. And pretty soon we are on a treadmill that is the equivalent of slavery. Sometimes it's called wage slavery, sometimes it's called corporate slavery. But any way you want to look at it, you're in a golden cage or a gilded cage, and you're not happy. You want to be free of it, but you don't know how because you're on that treadmill. And so I'm telling you, like from my own experience, that I majored in economics because I saw poverty and suffering in the world, and I wanted to end that. That was my true heart's goal and true heart's passion. But what I discovered is that no economist or politician or theoretician or mathematician or scientist has so far been able to solve the problem of poverty. And I came to understand that the reason why is because while there are systemic problems, and living in a country or a place in the world where you have opportunities definitely helps, and yet that in itself doesn't solve the problem of poverty. Because in the United States, this is a place in the world where we have more opportunities than the vast majority of people. I've traveled around the world. I've met these people personally. I know that they simply do not have the same opportunities that we have in the United States. So we're lucky to live in this part of the world, or if you live in Europe or in Australia or any place else in the world where you have an industrialized economy and you have technology, you have opportunities that other people in the rest of the world simply don't have. And yet we have tremendous poverty in this country and tremendous unemployment in this country, and homelessness is just out of control, and drug addiction is out of control. And so it really kind of wakes you up to the fact that opportunities by themselves is not enough. What I discovered is that there has to be something about the consciousness that is ready to see the opportunities and take hold of the opportunities and make something of them. And so I turned my focus to consciousness expansion. And that is what I do on my astrology channel and on my Patreon, which if you're interested, I will put links and you can check those out. But also, it's knowledge and awareness and belief in yourself. And so I want to show you my own experience and share with you my own knowledge, because I am a living example of someone who set out to deal with economic problems of poverty in the world and discovered that the problem had a lot more to do with the gray matter in your skull than it did to do with the externals. I'm not saying the externals don't matter. I'm just saying that there can be a lot of opportunities and some people are not capable of taking advantage of them for whatever reason. So on this channel, I'm going to share everything I know, whether that is about economics and politics, or more importantly, how did I become a successful entrepreneur doing what I love. I am absolutely passionate about the work I love. I mean, for me, I don't even call it work anymore, it's play, because I am so blissful and joyful when I am doing my creative work that I am passionate about that it's not even work anymore, it's play. And I used to in the beginning feel a little bit guilty, like how can someone pay me for playing? But I had to get over that, because the fact is that everybody can find the work that they enjoy, that they're passionate about it. And if right now you're listening to me say that, and you are in your mind thinking that's not true, that's your first block, okay? You have to believe, because if you don't believe, well, let me just quote Henry Ford. He said, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And that's really what it fundamentally comes down to. You have to believe it's possible. You have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe, you won't even try. And so from there, I'm just going to share with you everything I know about becoming a successful entrepreneur and becoming financially free, because I've reached a level where I can take a sabbatical if I want, but because I am not tied to this. There are two aspects to financial freedom. One, I think, is that you feel free, that you enjoy your life, you enjoy what you do. It's coming organically out of you. And the second is that you can step away from it if you need to or want to. Some people, choose to retire early when they have enough passive residual income. I personally have no desire to do that, because I absolutely love my work. I love creating. I love sharing this information with you. And I hope I get you excited about the options that are available to you, and you can begin to take advantage of them. So again, I'm going to share everything I know with you. And please let me know if it's helpful, or if you have other questions, because since this channel is new, I will be looking for ideas of what would be most helpful to share with you. So thank you for listening to this message. I hope that you will become a subscriber, and I hope that you will enjoy the information that you learn from this channel. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.